we are.
Oh, there we
live.
go.
So I
We
gave
are
you,
live.
I gave you a little scare, huh?
Oh my gracious, you gave me a heart attack pulling in here 28 minutes after 12. What in the world's going on?
I was on HSN for an hour live
And what were you doing?
selling wigs.
Wigs, are they the ones that you offer through Wigs and Wishes?
No, same, but the ones we do for Wigs and Wishes cost a lot more money. The ones on HSN are much more affordable.
Oh,
I'm being nice.
No, but you hey, listen, the ones you give they don't cost anybody anything.
That's true. They cost us a lot. They cost the
Yeah.
charity a lot.
Right, but they're free to every
To
patient.
any woman going through cancer
patient.
nationwide. So, with that being said, welcome to Hijacked Life Live, where we believe God rescues dreams that have been shattered by the cruelties and injustices of life.
So when we go to select a topic, it's always like I think about this all week long. Like, Lord, what do you want us to cover, right? And there's so many hot topics, like will pets go to heaven, and I wrote some down. Will we recognize loved ones, which we've covered in heaven? Is cremation wrong? The lie of live-in relationships. Will a person who commits suicide go to heaven? There are all these what we call hot topics, right? But today we're going to do something altogether different. And to be honest, I don't know how many people are going to tune in today.
Speaking of tune in, why don't you hit the share button to help us? I'm going to go on real quick, PB, if you don't mind, and I'm going to share it on my Facebook. Because you never know, something we could say could touch someone's life.
I believe that today's topic is of incredible importance to those of us who are believers. And I think what happens is, like, I have a friend, and been a friend for, 20 plus years, right? And he won't even read the Old Testament. He says, I'm not going to read the Old Testament. Why should I read the Old Testament? Jesus' words trump everything. And I say, hey, God wrote the black print just like he wrote the red print. And the Old Testament gives us a foundation. What we're going to see today in Numbers chapter 18 is the foundation for every blessing we have as Christians.
Okay.
That's what we're going to see today. So today we're going to look at the entire chapter of Numbers 18, addressing the priesthood, the duties of the priests and Levites, and the support for the priests and the Levites. Now, why? Because St. Peter tells us that we are a chosen people, we are a royal priesthood, and therefore everything that is relational to the Levites in this chapter, it belongs to us.
Nice.
Today. So, you already took a few moments and invited people to tune in, right?
And share it. And Christine, are we okay? Because there's a little thing that says our frame's too low. Are we good?
No, you're good.
All right, awesome.
All right. So what I'd like you to do is meet our guest for next week. So
Okay.
Samaj, come on in. By the way, this is Shamaz's second day as a full-time pastor at GCCC. Yay! Just stay here for a second.
Okay.
And you've been serving as, a youth pastor part-time while you were in college for what, 2 years now?
Yeah, it's going on 2 years. Yep.
Yeah. And yesterday you started full-time.
Yep.
And next week, our topic is, because he's going to be our guest, we're going to look at teens in 2022.
Oh, boy.
Teenagers,
Good
the life of a teen and the parent of teens in 2022.
Heavy topic.
So,
Yeah.
heavy topics.
Indeed.
Tune in next week. Invite your friends to come in, because Samaj is going to be our guest. There'll be 3 of us at this table next week.
That's
we're going to
hysterical.
have some fun.
That would
right?
be fun.
We're going to have some fun.
All right. Say hi to him, Samaj.
Hey, everybody. Look forward to seeing you all next week.
And how old are you, Samaj?
21.
So when Samaj was 2, he was one of the kids when I was the kids choir director.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And what did I put you through?
Hell.
No. You don't want to go through hell, but I know what you meant.
He loved me.
I
I
knew.
was his
All right.
favorite.
And then the following week, because we're talking about teens, John Kay is going to be our guest.
Nice.
Pastor John Kay. We're going to talk about families raising children in 2022.
That's going to be very important.
Yes. All right, so let's start reading Numbers chapter 18.
All right.
You're up.
Then the Lord said to Aaron, you, your sons, and your relatives from the tribe of Levi will be held responsible for any offenses related to the sanctuary. But you and your sons alone will be held responsible for violations connected with the priesthood.
Yes, so by offenses, we're talking about sins relational to the sanctuary and sins relational to the priesthood. Now, what does that mean? So let's answer this, right, by going to 1 Peter chapter 2.
Verse 9. But you are not like that, for you are a chosen people. You are royal priests, a holy nation, God's very own possession. And as a result, you can show others that goodness of God, the goodness of God, for he called you out of the darkness into his wonderful light.
So look at this. So in the Old Testament, the priests were responsible for making sure the offenses before God that took place relational to the church were covered and relational to the nation of Israel.
Okay.
But now look what Peter says. He says, we are a royal priesthood. We are the holy nation.
'Cause they're
we are the Levites. See, we now have become the priests. So therefore, the responsibility of removing offenses is in each of our courts.
Wow.
See, it's not the responsibility of the priest to go before God and say, your sins are absolved. Because when Jesus entered into that, when Jesus died on the cross, you remember the veil was separated.
Torn.
Yes, and only the high priest could enter, was torn. So we are now priests.
Through Jesus Christ.
Yeah, through Christ. So we now have the responsibility as individuals to settling our offenses before God and settling our offenses before other men.
Guess what? I'd rather have that responsibility than leave it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Right?
But see, we were unworthy, and
Right.
we still are unworthy, but Jesus makes us worthy. This whole picture, the Old Testament, and what God gives us just makes us realize the gift we have in salvation.
Got it.
So let's keep reading.
Okay. Verse 2?
Yeah,
Okay, so we're going to go back to
back
verse
to,
2. Yep.
18 of Numbers.
Got it. Bring your relatives of the tribe of Levi, your ancestral tribe, to assist you and your sons as you perform the sacred duties in front of the tabernacle of the covenant. But as the Levites go about all their assigned duties at the tabernacle, they must be careful not to go near any of the sacred objects or the altar. If they do, both you and they will die.
Yeah, everybody.
Scary.
Yeah.
That's why they tied a rope around his leg. The Levites must join you in fulfilling their responsibilities for the care and maintenance of the tabernacle, but no unauthorized person may assist you.
So what God did was he separated the sacerdotal duties, the lighting of the candles in the tabernacle, the holy place itself, from all of the responsibilities of taking care of the tabernacle. When it was moved, it had to be carried and so forth.
What were the
Right.
sacred objects?
They were what was inside of the holy place.
So was
that
it
was
like
the altar of incense.
Okay.
It was the candelabra. It was all of that. Now, outside, the Levites could assist the priest, was Aaron and his family. So God separated these holy things. There were tiers. But when Jesus rent that veil, there's no tier.
Got it.
It's just so cool. So he separates these responsibilities. Because today, it's all changed. Because when Jesus rent the veil in the temple, he became the high priest. He became the mediator between God and man. And now every person has access to those holy things.
Got it.
If you touch those holy things, remember the ending of the Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yeah.
You remember that, guys? Christine's helping us. She's online, and Samaj is watching us.
And he's laughing.
But you remember what happened? Their eyes melted in their socket.
So I know
Yeah.
we're time, but
We're fine.
Good. In the Ark of the Covenant, right? Do you
Yes.
believe there is somewhere in the world an Ark of the Covenant today?
Not today.
So there is no chalice from Christ in the Ten Commandments and Solomon's candle, whatever?
No, because I think if it was, it would have been found.
Got it.
Here's the point. Inside of it was Aaron's rod that budded. And you know how that was selected. When the uprising arose and they came against Aaron and Moses, they had to bring all their rods, all the 12 tribes,
Okay.
and then they were put before the Lord. And the next day, Aaron's rod not only sprouted, but it budded.
Wow.
And so it said that Aaron and Moses were the priesthood. The Levites weren't on the same equal plane. That's what we're talking about today.
Got it.
See, they were separated. And for them to touch any of the holy things, they would die. And remember, when the ark was being carried from into Jerusalem, when, why can't I think of his name? He touched the ark, you remember?
Yeah.
Uzzah. touched the ark, and he was smitten dead. He was a Levite, but he wasn't allowed to touch the holy
So
things.
what happened to the Ten Commandments and all that stuff?
Okay, the Ten Commandments were put in the ark, the rod and a bowl, an ephah of manna.
Okay.
Okay, when Israel was taken captive, that ark was laden with gold inside and out, pure gold. So they took the gold, everything that was in
So it's
it,
probably
they destroyed. Yeah. And I don't know if God didn't do that purposely, so we wouldn't look at the ark as something sacred that we were to worship.
Got it.
You know,
That
God
makes
is the
sense.
one we are to worship.
Right, that makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're reading.
Verse 5, you yourselves must perform the sacred duties inside the sanctuary and at the altar. If you follow these instructions, the Lord's anger will never again blaze against the people of Israel. Verse 6, I myself have chosen your fellow Levites from among the Israelites to be your special assistants. They are a gift to you, dedicated to the Lord for service in the tabernacle. But you and your sons, the priests, must personally handle all the priestly rituals associated with the altar and with everything behind the inner curtain. I am giving you the priesthood as your special privilege of service. Any unauthorized person who comes too near the sanctuary will be put to death.
Yes.
Scary.
So what we would have, so what would have happened is we would have been put to death if we lived in the Old Testament.
Right,
For the privileges and the honor we have today in the New.
right.
Even to withholding, look at this, I thought of this. When you said that, look, that my wrath will not break out upon the nation of Israel.
Right.
And I thought, think how we withhold the wrath of God. Just think about it. I mean, 63 million babies have been slaughtered in the womb. If Abel's blood cried from the ground, how much more do all these babies? And yet God spares us as a nation. I think it's a direct result of we, who in a sense are the Levites, who are praying and standing in the gaps.
Praying for this land and the
we
government.
look at same-sex marriage. They're rewriting God's definition of marriage. Who's standing in the gap? The church, praying, seeking. Who takes care of the poor? Let's be honest. We have these tsunamis that come in. And, the government's there for a couple seconds and they leave. I remember when we went at the first place we went to, and the first thing the government built was a casino. The state was a casino. All these poor people, we're helping build houses, but I'm saying it's the church that goes in and stays. It's the Red Cross. It's World Vision. It's people like us.
UNICEF.
Yeah, and all. It's the church who comes together. Even Habitat for Humanity. They're usually people from churches.
Sure.
They go in and we stay the hand of God's wrath in this wicked world in which we live. And that's what the priests did. So look at how important this chapter 18 is to us as Christians today. It's telling us we're doing this because we're the Levites. We're Aaron's family. We're the priests. So keep going.
Verse 8, the Lord gave these further instructions to Aaron. I myself have put you in charge of all the holy offerings that are brought to me by the people of Israel. I have given all of these consecrated offerings to you and your sons as your permanent share. You are allotted the portion of the most holy offerings that is not burned on the fire.
We'll talk about offerings that were burned up and then offerings that were given to the priests. But some offerings had to be burned up completely. They were God's. God said, this is totally mine. And other offerings were only given in part. Like certain things belonged to God, the thigh or whatever, and the rest all belonged to the priest's offering or the priest's family.
Gotcha.
So these possessions of God, all these offerings, became the priest. So what is God's becomes ours.
Wow.
You see this picture? Mm-hmm. How could we understand the New Testament if we didn't have the Old? It's painting the picture.
Well, you're making it very understandable. Keep going with verse 8. This portion of all the most holy offerings, including the grain offerings, sin offerings, and guilt offerings, will be most holy, and it belongs to you and your sons. You must eat of it as a most holy offering. All the males may eat of it, and you must treat it as most holy. Verse 11, all the sacred offerings and special offerings presented to me when the Israelites lift them up before the altar also belong to you. I have given them to you and to your sons and daughters as your permanent share. Any member of your family who is ceremonially clean may eat of these offerings.
And we are made ceremonially clean
By
through
the blood
Jesus
of Christ.
Remember the woman with the issue of blood?
Yes.
She was an outcast. She couldn't go into the church, so to speak. You know, she couldn't be around any other persons because she would make them unclean.
They still do that today.
Some, yes.
The
Yeah,
Hasidics,
because of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But you think about this. Look, they were because they now have access.
Wow.
And these all belong to us because of Jesus. He makes us clean.
I like it.
You know, at the touch of the master's hand. Wow. Keep going.
Verse 12, I also give you the harvest gifts brought by the people as offerings to the Lord, the best of the olive oil, new wine and grain, all of the first crops of their land that the people present to the Lord belong to you. Any member of your family who is ceremonially clean may eat this food. Everything in Israel that is specially set apart for the Lord also belongs to you.
Now look at that.
That's
Point.
crazy.
Everything that belongs to God is theirs. And think about this. God got the best, look, the best of the olive oil, the best of the wine, the best of the grain. I mean, he's buying that, what was the name of that sermon?
Yeah, from
Lucas Cooper.
Yeah.
What was the name of it?
Oh, Bordeaux.
Bordeaux.
Yeah.
Bordeaux.
God's getting the Bordeaux here. You know what I mean?
I'll take the opus, but okay. All right.
Wait, and all the first crops of the land, he's getting the best. Our time's up.
It's all
So,
right.
well, let's. What do we have? Okay, but let's do this. We'll pick this up next week because there's so much more to it.
Okay.
See all this we have to
Oh,
go through.
Man, that is a lot.
Yeah, we'll finish the chapter. But let's say this. Let's ask our viewers what they think that means in this world. What does the best of the crop? What does that mean? So those of you who are watching us today, now's your time. Tell us what you think is meant by the first fruits and the best of the crops as believers today.
I would kind of bring it back to the Lord's Prayer. I think it's our daily bread.
Well, we'll see.
Oh, here we go.
Well, we're going to see. It's next week.
Oh,
All
man.
right? So, I don't know what we're going to do now.
All right, and while you're thinking about it, did you draw this?
No, isn't it adorable?
I swear, I said he must have painted that.
No, some lady does it. And she does all different. She does every kind of cat and dog.
It's cool.
Yeah, it is cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you have to order it because she only does these, like, she'll do a whole run. So it may take 2 or 3 months before you get
That's
your
pretty
cup.
cool.
But yeah. That's her name.
Katie?
Whatever that is. All right, we're going to sign off. Let's see, Martin, go to your last page.
Sure
That's
will.
our sign off somewhere.
Last page. Remember to share. Send us topics you'd like to address, and above all things, have a blessed weekend.
Amen. All right, thanks for joining us.
See you next week on
All
Hijack
right.
Live.
Yeah, thank you, Samaj. Thank you, Christine. All right, now
Hijack
we
Life
got to
Live.
fix
Sorry.
this and end the live video. Hijack, that's right.
always
That's
butcher
what
it.
the enemy wants to do, hijack your life. You